where even if they fork something
Internally at at these CFI firms?
at banks, I'm talking
Mm,
much broader. I
mm.
think a lot of the banks that we've spoken to are already engaged in DeFi in some way, shape, or form
manner.
in a permission.
And maybe these first few phases are testing and challenging the chains to be able to handle the volumes that are coming.
Alrighty, everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to another CYPRX video banger. Buckle up your seatbelts because today's video breakdown is going to prove to you all everything that we've been talking about on the CYPRX YouTube, that banks are 110% interested in DeFi, earning yield on their digital assets, and they are coming to this space at a much more rapid pace than people seem to understand in the moment because of all the short-term price fluctuations that have been happening in the market as of recent. As always, welcome back to the CYPRX platform, ladies and gentlemen. We do appreciate your return. Do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe if you enjoy these research video breakdowns, showing you guys information that goes readily unnoticed. All of the video clips and fundamentals that we're going to share in today's video breakdown have hardly any views, which just goes to prove our point that now is the opportune moment for you to get educated on how to earn yield on your digital assets. So that way, when you're ready, when regulations are clear, you can go and do exactly that. I'm here to just show you guys that banks are for a fact coming. Anyone telling you guys that they don't have their hand in DeFi, that they don't have their hand in crypto, are going to continuously be proven wrong. In today's video breakdown, we're going to show you exactly that. So we're going to be listening today to Aya Kontorovic. Hopefully I'm pronouncing her name correctly. She's the co-founder and CEO of a company called August, which was previously known as Fractal. As you guys can see here from their LinkedIn profile, just clicking along and just, showing you all why you should even take into consideration what this individual from this organization says. Let's just read a little bit thoroughly through some previous history. April 2023. Let's take a look back when the company was named Fractal, an infrastructure provider enabling institutions to clear, settle, and margin digital asset trades on chain, announced a secured $6 million financing led by Hack VC. They are also joined by a suite of strategic investors, including Sixth Man Ventures, Archetype Ventures, Avalanche Ecosystem Fund Blizzard, Circle Ventures, CNT Digital CoinShares, Golden Tree Asset Management, QCP Capital, Spartan Group, and as well as a handful of other angel investors. In the wake of ongoing developments in the CeFi space, institutional interest has intensified in finding fit-for-purpose solutions to facilitate on-chain finance. Fractal is well-positioned to build the connective tissue and capital-efficient solutions between assets on and off-chain, said Alex Peck, managing partner at Hack VC. Fractal provides tools that help investors to easily participate in the on-chain economy. If we head over directly to their website, you can see their main slogan on their website says institutional-grade platform for crypto, right? And if we head over to their documents, it says right here, August is an institutional grade platform. All of our borrowers go through KYC, KYB. August enables capital efficiency for institutions that are currently deployed on chain, while also giving institutions that cannot interact with DeFi directly a way to do so by bringing bilateral agreements on chain. In doing so, capital efficiency is unlocked and transparency is improved while maintaining institutional grade compliance. This is massive, which is again why you should listen to what this lady freaking says. Take a second and let's just tap in.
Yeah, I would break it into a couple buckets. The first is, as it pertains to how you define institutions. We tend to get caught up in that nomenclature pretty often in crypto. I would say, if you're talking about the institutions such as, retirement funds, family offices, large multi-billion-dollar asset managers that are buying, let's say, the BlackRock iShares, those institutions are getting involved, but they can't touch DeFi directly due to regulation. And so, that's an area that's always held those folks back. A lot of the banking participants, at least in the United States, we've seen a lot of activity pick up on chain with banks overseas. But regulation is really the big one. Where we have seen them engage is they are very large LPs of crypto funds. And so while they directly are not facing DeFi, they are indirectly facing DeFi. And so the AUM of those funds has significantly risen over the last 2 to 3 years, and largely in part to more of these institutions getting involved. And so I think people tend to overshadow that because, you want to see the big headline of the bank touching DeFi directly. You want to see the retirement fund touching Aave directly, as you mentioned. But, they can't necessarily do that. They can definitely invest in a fund who can. And so we're seeing a lot of that. And then on
these banks can invest in funds that can directly touch DeFi, meaning they are indirectly touching DeFi, which confirms exactly what I've been trying to show you guys, that these large financial institutions 110% know about DeFi, but right now they are sidelined via regulations. So what are they doing? They're investing into firms that can directly touch DeFi so that they can get exposure to earning yield on their digital assets. Boom. This literally proves everything that I've been trying to show you guys. Oh my goodness gracious, tap in, people. If this is your first video breakdown here, okay, go back and watch our yield playlist on the CYPRX platform, which will just kind of catch you up to speed on everything that we've been talking about up to this point. This is massive. Shout out to the Block, by the way, for this interview with the CEO of this organization. All right, I always got to give a shout out to where I'm gathering this information from. But so let's continue. You guys heard that banks are sidelined via regulation right now by directly touching DeFi. They're indirectly touching DeFi by tapping into firms that can give them access to DeFi solutions, right? Let's continue down the rabbit hole. I'm going to piece things together for you guys. She talks about how DeFi is resilient. She talks about large banks understanding how important DeFi is. And then I want to play a video clip from a BlackRock representative a couple of days ago talking about how we are in this testing phase, getting prepared for what is coming. Okay, so just check this out. Listen to what she says here at about 37 minutes into this interview.
Exactly, whether or not you wanted to move your funds off and use a different counterparty. And so, at least for the folks we've spoken to, people very, very much understand how important DeFi is. It's really just a regulatory piece. And we've seen since, late Jan that those conversations have sped up dramatically. And almost to the point where it feels like every person I'm speaking to on a call, because these conversations now went from, oh, I can't have this discussion, to let's have all of the discussions. And we're all exhausted because suddenly the tap has been turned on again. And everyone wants to start a DeFi project, some sort of initiative, where even if they fork something
internally at these CFI firms,
at banks, I'm talking much broader. I think a lot of the banks that we've spoken to are already engaged in DeFi.
If that does not encourage you to want to start learning about DeFi, I do not know what else will. She literally just confirmed that banks understand the importance of DeFi and they are getting engaged. This is coming from the CEO of a platform that provides institutional grade compliance, like for DeFi. So like, this is massive. I'm like at loss of words that this interview even came out, because this is like a slap in the face to anybody that's like, oh, banks aren't coming to DeFi, banks aren't using DeFi. Like, yes, they are. This just goes to prove the lack of education amongst the manual retail crowd right now that thinks that they understand what's happening, but they truly don't. This is coming from an institutional perspective, a person that has calls with financial institutions telling you straight to your face in an interview that banks are here. They're ready. She said the tap is turning on. It turned on, right? This has 73 views. Oh my goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen, come on now. 3 hours ago, this was posted. You go look at a TikTok dancing video, the latest trending crap, and it's got millions of freaking views. Nobody has tapped into this because people, their brain juices are straight manipulated and distracted right now from what is really happening behind the scenes. So let's continue down the rabbit hole, okay? So she just talked about banks being interested. I want to take you over to this video from SFF 2024 Singapore FinTech Festival of an individual. I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, the CEO now of Binance. I just don't know this individual off the top of my head. He's got a Binance shirt on, so I'm just assuming. But 10 days ago, 32 views. Listen to what he says here about the top 20 banks having a crypto strategy.
That has given a lot of credibility into this space. On our own, this year, I mean, then the institutions start to come in. Right? And if you look at the top 200 institutions, most of them have a crypto agenda. Some have started allocation. The family office has done it. The endowment has started to do it.
That's all I wanted you guys to hear. The top 20 institutions now have a crypto strategy, confirming that on stage. And he is sitting directly on stage with Monica Long from Ripple, besides the point of today's video breakdown. But again, this has been confirmed. People that still think that institutions are not interested in crypto, or they're not coming to this space in a very large way, once regulations are clear, honestly, at this point, they're just sleeping on their own potential of life-changing wealth over the next consecutive couple of years. I'm not here as a moon boy trying to get you guys to believe that this is going to happen tomorrow, because it's not. We still have a whole mess of things that we need to get through before we experience life-changing wealth. But it is coming. It is going to take time. I know people are tired of hearing of that, but that's why now is important that you get educated. You take it upon yourself to start reading documents, to start looking into DeFi protocols. You don't need to deploy, but it's important for you, at least from our perspective here at CYPRX, for you to learn how not to have to sell back into fiat after this next bull market cycle and start to generate yield on your digital assets. So that way you can just continue to just compound and compound and compound your returns in this new digital ecosystem. Okay. And I'm trying to show you guys that banks are coming. So imagine in 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, when banks are here and all these prices of these assets, imagine in a world where trillions of dollars have flooded in, right? And prices are significantly higher. And instead of selling for fiat on a digital asset like XRP as an example, that's worth $10, $20, $30, $40. Again, I'm just speaking hypothetically. Instead of thinking that you're going to sell for fiat and get a pullback to enter in at a discounted price, instead of risking yourself to that type of strategy, you can just hold your XRP, deploy it into DeFi, generate yield on it, and never have to sell it, and pay yourself with the passive income that you're earning from your digital assets. And that's across the board with pretty much every single digital asset right now in the market. Okay. I cannot stress enough. This is so important to people's long-term survival, and people are just knocking it off because they think it's some scam. They think whatever. Let me show you that it's not. So listen to this individual representative. Okay. This is the gentleman from BlackRock sitting on stage at the CFTC, Moritz. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. This is the video titled Institutional Adoption, In It for the Tech or the Turn. 184 views 8 days ago. Listen to what he says about how we are currently in this testing phase. Okay. Listen, this is so crazy.
Yeah, I'm a futurist and I'm an optimist. And I think this is the entry-level drug and the first test case for completely digitizing our ecosystems. Sandy told you that all our infrastructure has been built over decades and decades and decades, and it's creaky. We have a view that the internet went through phases. We believe blockchains are going through phases. I'm going to be a little bit excitable here. It's possible as we think about these chains that gaming and NFTs and meme coins are practice for massive adoption of not just financial services transactions, like billions and trillions of them, but usage in the real human economy. Like actually your day-to-day, you're interacting with payments in a digitally native manner. And maybe these first few phases are testing and challenging the chains to be able to handle the volumes that are coming.
These first few phases are tests to be able to handle the volume that is coming. That is going to play such an important role via what it is that I'm about to play for you guys. So back to this representative, Aya from August, the company that was once formerly known as Fractal. Listen to what she says here about how resilient DeFi is to these shocks, right? These shocks that create massive liquidations in the market. Think about what the BlackRock representative just said, how we are in a testing phase. They are literally telling you guys on stage that they're testing this stuff out. Okay. Listen to what she says here.
I mean, I don't know if they can handle the same amount of size, but when you look at how they perform during these massive liquidation events, right? They perform very well during these market turndowns. What does that say to, or what does that tell us about the resiliency of DeFi during these drawdowns?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's time and time again, we've seen that same resiliency. We saw it with FTX. We saw it, 3 or 4 years prior, and consistently DeFi works and it's fully transparent. And when it perhaps that, on Black Thursday in March of 2020, when COVID happened and that triggered liquidations, you had a 48% price drop in ETH and DeFi worked. Now with what we saw with Feb 2nd, you saw that Aave, for example, processed over 210 million liquidations in the market downturn. And by comparison, Aave processed between 2020 and 2022 roughly the same amount. So the size is enormous. And despite all that, DeFi performs seamlessly. And so
she's talking about events that have taken place in the digital asset ecosystem and how DeFi has remained resilient, right? These liquidation events that have been taking place. The gentleman just said that he thinks, and this is coming from BlackRock, right, that he thinks that we are in this testing phase.
And maybe these first few phases are testing and challenging the chains to be able to handle the volumes that are coming,
where the markets are preparing for what's coming. She's here telling you guys that DeFi has remained resilient. Therefore, again, you can put 2 and 2 together. DeFi is going to be one of those things that survives long term, these tests that we're currently going through and experiencing right now. She mentioned how Aave has come out on top. If we go over to a recent panel discussion that the founder of Aave was on, that only has 105 views, listen to what they say and talk about how DeFi is ready to take it to the next level.
Just because, I mean, the nature of crypto does lend itself to, a lot of very fast and loose things happening in the space, right? But the reality is that in the DeFi industry specifically, things have really like reached a new level, I think, especially in like the last year. And I think it's really now being encapsulated by like the recent evolutions and rebrands and kind of taking things to the next level that you're seeing in Sky, in Aave, in some of the other DeFi protocols. Everyone's beginning to focus on the really long term. Like we're seeing like multi-year plans for the future.
We're seeing multi-year plans for the future. DeFi is ready to take it to the next level. Hopefully, I'm putting all this information together for you guys in such a way where you can see that right now, it's extremely important for the everyday average retail investor to get educated. We're not sitting here trying to encourage you guys to go out there and risk your hard-earned capital, but ignoring that this is happening behind the scenes is honestly choosing ignorance. It's choosing a path of not knowing what is happening behind the scenes instead of educating yourself, joining a like-minded community, going through a DeFi university, which we created for you guys. You can see here over 200 video breakdowns taking you through a detailistic perspective on how we are earning yield on our digital assets right now in the moment, physically showing you guys live examples of that. So that way you can educate yourselves on the possibilities that this space has to offer. So that way, when the time comes, when regulations are clear, you have the power to go out there and earn and generate yield yourself. As always, I hope that today's video breakdown proves to you guys to some degree that banks are 110% interested in DeFi. They know it exists and they're using it, albeit indirectly. They are still utilizing DeFi to earn yield on their digital assets. It's time to wake up. It's time to mature and grow past the perspective of hodling digital assets for forever and becoming relatively wealthy, and instead shift our mindsets to taking idle digital assets collecting dust into positive, productive, yield-generating assets, which is exactly what they can be used for. If anybody's interested in tapping into our Wealth 28 Club University, learning about DeFi in detail, head over to CYPRXtrading.com. We would love to have you on the team. If not, at least at a minimum, do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. That is free to do, and we really do appreciate the love and the support. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video breakdown. As always, none of this is financial advice. We are not telling you guys to go out there and deploy in DeFi, but what we are asking that you all do is you take it upon yourself to educate. Educate. There's hundreds of free resources out there and hours of documented research that you can tap into without joining our university. You can watch the yield playlist on YouTube. You can follow us on X. You can do your own due diligence and do research on your own behalf out there. If you want to take a more fast-tracked approach, then you can tap into the DeFi University, but get educated. That is the bottom line. Right now, we are in the midst of a massive transformation, and proper education coupled with proper implementation of that education is going to be the thing that sets people apart in this crypto space from achieving success or not achieving success over the next consecutive couple of years. As always, I will see you guys in the next video breakdown.